What is this? What the hell is this? You want to take a guess? Comment down below. Okay, time's up. Hope you paused it and took a guess. This is a V-thread anchor builder practicing tool by our friends at Skillzboard. If you don't remember Skillzboard, they make these pretty neat little boards where you could train anchor building. Let's say, you're gonna bring a guy that's a little bit rusty, hasn't climbed in a while, or maybe some new people, if maybe you're a guide or whatever. And you can practice some anchor building on the ground, so when you send that person up, they don't just drop the rope or whatever. Pretty cool, and they're not sponsoring me or anything. They just sent this over and said, hey, you want to talk about V-thread building? I'm like, anchor building? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. I could totally get behind a product like this. I see way too many accidents on this channel as it is, so anything that's safety related, I dig. So let's hop on the table, and I'll show you how to build a V-thread, and we'll talk about it a little bit. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so obviously V-threading is for ice climbing. So I'll show you exactly what's going on here. Imagine we're looking straight at the ice, okay? This is ice, and we're looking at it. It goes up, down, up, looking straight at it. Our goal is to take one of our ice screws and come in, build a tunnel going in an angle like this, and then building another tunnel coming at an angle like this. This way, now we're going to be changing dimensions and looking straight down. Now our tunnel goes through the ice and meets. So what we can essentially do is pass a sling in here and around here, and then anchoring off of this piece of ice. And you'd actually be surprised how strong that is. I've seen videos of slings breaking in V-threads.
38.
Okay, so typically what I like to do is, if I'm planning on building a V-thread anchor, is what I'll first do is take an ice screw and I'll put it somewhere up here. And then I'll maybe clove hitch in here or whatever, keep myself from moving. And the reason I put it up here and not like, right here or right here, is because ice has a tendency to crack horizontally. If you have something hanging like this and gravity's pulling down, and like if my arm was made of ice and I chipped over here, then a crack would probably form straight across and then it would fall. So because of that, it's better to have ice screws that are like up higher and away and not in a straight line making holes right across. Now, if the ice is this, if you're new to ice climbing, get a guide, because ice climbing is like rock climbing. It's one step up, because it really relies on the type of ice, and there's so many different types of ice. Sometimes the ice could be soft and slushy, sometimes the ice could be wet, sometimes the ice could be sticky, sometimes the ice could be so cold it's as hard as concrete and your ice picks just bounce off them. So, okay, that being said, don't just take this lesson and go out and ice climb with it. You want to go with someone that's experienced with most climbing videos, obviously. So what I'd like to do is grab a long ice screw. It's probably my longest ice screw I bring, and I bring this ice screw for V-thread making. Because the longer it is, the more ice we'll have behind our V-thread. This also, a little caveat is, it depends if the ice is deep enough. You might only be able to get up to here, and then there's rock right behind the ice. So yeah, in that case, you could use a smaller one. What's the limit on how small to make? Well, I don't know the answer to that. So I can't tell you, but I'd say anything that's like larger than, anything that's smaller than this ice screw, I think I'd be kind of sketched on it. But that'd be a cool video to see at what point would it bust out, like how much material here can you have, and then that's a whole nother video, a whole nother episode. Really, it's a whole thing to explore. So basically what I like to think about it is, I want to build an equilateral triangle. So you have one, and then 2 legs, and then 3 legs. So I'll come in over here, right? And I'll come in, I'll make my hole. I'll go. This is pretty cool, because you could you could actually hang this thing somewhere and, you know, hang on a hangboard and then practice screwing this in with one arm or something. You know, or you could just freeze your own block of ice, but this is pretty cool. So you come over here. Obviously, this ice screw is too big for this, but just this is what I would do. My ice would be all the way over to here. So I'd screw this in. Then what I would do is I'd back it back out. Like I said, this is too small for my screw, but I would then go from this hole here, and I'd go across. And where that tip is right there on the right, that's where I'd make my other hole. Because it's equilateral triangle, you can't go any farther than this, right? Because the hole would be too far away. So then I would come in this direction. Now, a tool that helps me do that is this little guy. Because, you know, if you're not some kind of cool little, if you don't have a lot of experience, or you just want to do it the quick way and not make Swiss cheese out of the ice, then this is like the training wheels. It's made by Black Diamond. Let me open this up. So yeah, this tool makes it kind of dummy proof for you. It has your 16, 19, and 22. Really light piece of plastic. You hold it up against the ice. Then you take your ice screw and you put it in here and you drill your hole. And then you hold this in the same spot. And you come over here and then you drill your other hole. And because this thing is made for dummies, it'll end up like this and they will perfectly match and meet. So once you get that done, it's then time to feed your rope through. And that goes like this. There's two things you could do. There's the leave no trace way, and then there's leave a trace way. So to leave a trace, you take your cord. No, I wouldn't go any less than 6 millimeter. You take your accessory cord or whatever, you stick it in here, and then you can see, ooh, there it is. You can look in the ice. Check that out. Then what this tool also has, okay, right here, is a little grabber here. So we take our little grabber, and we stick it in. We have our piece of string in there, a little rope. Stay. Are you too good for your home? Stay in there. Okay. We're gonna take this. It has a little hooky hook on the end, and it usually does a really good job. Just going in there and then grabbing. And there you go. What you're going to do now is build a double fisherman right here. Then you take your rope and you're just going to run it through here. Yes, I know, rope on rope. You're going to be very careful. You're going to put your rope on here, and then you're not going to rappel on something like a gree-gree and have your rope slide on it. You're going to rappel with like an ATC and do like a double rappel right off of here and rappel down to the ground. And then once you're on the ground, you pull the rope through, and then you're going to get some rope on rope. So if you see one of these that are in the ice and you want to clip into it, you might want to look around and inspect it, because odds are someone rappelled on this and there's some rope on rope. So you want to check if it's still in good working condition. You can run your rope through here. Now, you might not want to run your rope through here if the ice is kind of wet and it might like flash freeze in there or something. If you're wary about that, you're obviously not going to rappel through your rope through here like this and have your rope slide through. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to run it through, slowly get to the middle point, and then you're going to do a rappel with like an ATC from there. And then that is basically how you build a V-thread anchor. And if you're wondering, this thing looks like it was 3D printed. I wonder how many days it took to print this thing. Wow. Well, hey, I appreciate you, and I hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, check out our Discord. I sell some merch. All the links to the Skillzboard and everything else down in the description below. Catch you in the next episode. Josh Perry, climbing out of here.